All right, friends, I finally made a decision for my 10-year-old daughter's math curriculum for next year. So in this video, I'm going to be chatting a bit through my decision-making process, as well as I'm going to unbox what I actually did purchase, which I'm so excited for you guys. I feel like it is a perfect combination of mastery approach with some spiral review, as well as the perfect level of like teacher involvement. So let's just chat through all the math details. So hi, welcome to the channel, welcome back, all the things. So let's just chat through some math. So if you've been following my channel and all my update videos over this past year, you'll know that my daughter had kind of a struggle season with math. But once I was able to kind of embrace the fact that this is just a season, it's not forever and I shouldn't panic and stress about it. It's a season and there's a variety of reasons for it. I feel like I was able to calm down and approach it not quite so emotionally, I guess. And so let me start with a little backstory for this kiddo. So for her, we started with Singapore math. Way back in the day, I did some Singapore dimensions as well as primary math. We only use it for kindergarten and maybe half of the way through first grade for her before we switched both her and her older brother to Saxon. And we really did it for her brother. She was kind of young enough that she was doing fine and I wasn't too concerned about her. I just wanted to stay consistent with what we were doing. And so I switched her into Saxon Math 1 for like the second half of her first grade year. And then we went into Math 2 and Math 3, which are the 3 early years of Saxon that are very teacher intensive. And then this year she was using Saxon 5-4. And that's really where it started to fall apart, but for a variety of reasons. And when I think about the fact that it probably was a season, the first major contributor to the season was math facts. These are the years when they have to master these. They have to master their math facts. And if they don't, or if it's kind of a slow going, it affects just their daily work. You know what I mean? And it did for her. It just kind of slowly was wearing on her. And it made it so that math was lasting forever. And so we did some things. Mostly I signed her up for the Nicole the Math Lady drill team, which helps her with her math facts. It's not perfect. I could have done it better, but it's definitely improved her retention. And we'll continue to work on math facts. We're not done. We're not out of the woods yet for that, but I think that may have been like one of the biggest contributing factors to this season. Another thing, honestly, was that switch. Like I said, Saxon 1, 2, and 3 are more teacher-led, and then it goes into the Saxon 5-4 and 6-5, and those are more student-led, and we used Nicole the Math Lady to teach the videos. That was not a problem. The problem was, honestly, she struggled to take the problem from the book and copy it onto a piece of paper. She just doesn't think in straight lines, and so all of her problems would be like slanted, and then you kind of have to line things up in math, and that would cause such problems. So just the fact of transferring it was not easy. We did use some of the resources from Saxon, like these answer blocks, so you can work problem 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I would just photocopy these. So she had a place to work it. It had grids in it. It didn't really matter. It didn't help necessarily, but I was trying to work with what I had. The next thing I feel like is just developmental. It was like attention and focus. It was hard for her to stay focused. She had a little bit of squirrel tendencies. It sometimes would take her a really long time to do math, or she'd get really distracted by her little brothers. And so we did set up like a special room for her. Like she was able to do math in another room with kind of special candles and blankets and all these things. And that was helpful, but it was still hard for her to stay focused. And some of it is just personality driven, and that's okay. Like I can definitely work with that. There's nothing inherently bad there. It's just trying to kind of set her up for success. And so I noticed all of these things, and Saxon just wasn't sticking very well. Even though we did certain things, like we only did odds and evens to try and keep the workload manageable, to keep her focus up, it would still result in most of the time she'd struggle with like more than half of the problems. And just over the course of 8 months, 9 months, whatever it was, it just really affected her confidence, which I didn't like to see. And I feel like there was times when she just totally got it, and other times when it was harder. So it was time for a change. Yes, we made it to the end of the year. We did those things, those switches I just talked about to make it to the end of the year. But I knew that another year of Saxon just wasn't in the cards. It wasn't a good fit, and that's okay. So I started researching. I started researching math, and you all were helpful because I've been chatting through kind of my struggles, and I got a number of suggestions. Like I looked into Math UC. That was a common one recommended. I struggled with the idea of putting her in as like a fourth grader, I feel like Math UC would be wonderful if you started it from the beginning up. I feel like there might be some strategies for how to catch them up, but having it be so mastery for so many years, I wasn't sure how to do that well. So that one didn't really thrill me. As well as Math Mammoth was recommended a lot as well. And I looked at it. And it just looked really busy. Like the paper was really full. It was black and white, and I watched a number of videos, and it sounded like maybe there wasn't as much like teacher help as other programs. I'm not sure. There was something about it that I was just like, I don't think this is the right fit. I felt like this might feel similarly to Saxon for her. And then the one that I probably got recommended the most, which I looked at, was Math with Confidence. I looked at Math with Confidence. There was just a few things. There's a few things after watching a bunch of reviews that I wasn't too keen on, and I feel like it had the most to do with the fact that it's not like finished. I don't want her to like run out of programs. That shouldn't be the reason I made the decision, and it really wasn't. I also kind of listened to a lot of reviews and how teacher intensive it had to be. It sounded like it was more teacher intensive than the program I did end up picking, even though that probably was my second choice. What I ended up with, you guys, was Christian Light Education. Now, a little backstory on me and how I've always approached math and homeschooling math is I've shied away from Christian math programs. This was just a preconceived notion that I needed to let go of. I needed to let go of the fact that I didn't feel like math needed Bible verses. And I still don't. I don't think math needs Bible verses. I think you definitely integrate your faith in a lot of different things, but I think different Christian programs, sometimes it just feels shoved in. And that was just my own hang up. That's probably the best word, my own hang up for that. And I had to like see past it to look at a program like Christian Light, because this had a lot of things that check my boxes. Okay, before I tell you why I picked it, let me show you what I got. And so I picked up the teacher guides for level 4. So I just recently gave her the diagnostic test for this program, and it placed her here, which I figured this is where I was gonna put her, is in Math 4. And so I picked up the whole thing. I picked up the teacher guides because I feel like I appreciate teacher guides. First off, it's where the answers are, so I don't have to have like an answer key of any kind, but it also gives like some teaching help. It is not scripted in any way. I'll show you a little bit more, but it was just exactly what I needed. So let me grab out the rest. So the way this program's set up is they're called light units, and there's 10 of them. There's 10 light units for a year. So I loved this. It is small, it's obtainable, it is confidence boosting. Like the fact that it is in these little chunks, it's almost like a month-long work. It's all contained, but then she'll complete it. And there's something about completing a program, right? And you get to complete something 10 times a year. The other thing is it's all consumable. Like she gets to write in it. So, you can't really see that. Some of these problems down here that are the adding, subtracting, multi-digit numbers, it's all lined up for her. She can't mess that up. I feel like a lot of little errors were happening, and I would obviously catch that. I think this will just hold her hand a little bit better. It also includes all the speed drills in the back, as well as kind of a cute little speed drill record where she gets to color it in. She really likes this kind of stuff, like this reward sort of idea where she kind of climbs a ladder or follows a path or something like that. She's my kiddo that would appreciate that. And I just like the way it's really basically set up. Like every day starts with a certain thing, like flashcards, speed drills. And you work through those things. And I did end up getting the multiplication and division cards. I have some really good addition and subtraction cards from Rebecca that I'm using with my twins that I'm just gonna snag those when I need them for this program to review her addition and subtraction. And then she's gonna get into all the multiplication again. So I feel like this was a struggle year, and some of this material will be a repeat, but it will solidify her foundation. And I think that's really wise, as opposed to just keep pushing her forward on new material when she kind of sort of got it before enough that she can keep like stumbling through it. But this allows her to start not over, because I'm sure the scope is a little bit different in this program than it was in Saxon 5.4, but it's going to touch upon a lot of things, and it's going to reteach her, and it's going to solidify that foundation. And I don't think I would trade that for anything. I think it's really wise. It's a really good confidence booster for her. The other thing I picked up that was just, I think, smart is they have this math reference chart, and this one's for grades 2 to 6. So right in there, and it gives her things like the multiplication table so she can look it up. And it gives all this just kind of help with how to do the fractions, how to convert all the measurements, time, so many things. And she can just tuck this in where she's currently working and kind of keep it as her constant reference guide. There is nothing wrong with having these kinds of tools at her fingertips so that she has the most chance at success and the most chance at really having the material be absorbed in a way that makes a little bit more sense to her. So we decided on Christian Light Education, and I think it'll go really well. As for teacher intensiveness, I really liked the way the lessons were set up. Like, it's set up with that, like I said, the flashcards, the speed drills, and then it's set up with a small section. This is the teacher's guide, but it's representative of the worksheet. But it's a small section of like new teaching, and then it goes into like things they remember. So some review there, and some mental math, and some fact practice. It just feels appropriate. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is going to take a long time as well, or if we're going to have to do odds and evens. Maybe we will. I have to use it. I have to use the program for a while. We haven't switched math in a long time. Like I said, we've been using Saxon for quite a while with my big kids. I mean, we use Abeka arithmetic currently with my younger kids, but I'm hoping to switch them into Saxon potentially. Or if this is a big hit, this is another option. But this is where we're at. This is what I decided will serve my daughter for next year, and I hope that's true. I really do. I hope that it is a good fit for her. But let me know below, do you use this program? Do you have any tips or tricks for me? Because I need all the advice I can get about Christian Light Education math. Also, let me know if you want flip throughs. I feel like this is a little bit more common of a program. I can give definitely an update on how it's going, and I can do some comparison videos maybe. Let me know, because obviously I want whatever videos I make to be useful to you guys, but that's what I have. And if you have nothing you necessarily want to say, include some sort of math emoji down below for finally deciding what I wanted for my daughter for next year. But otherwise, you guys, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you want to, and I will see you guys in the next homeschool video. All right, take care.